Welcome, Walnut. I'm Lara, but you can call me Laz, your host for Walnut Wednesday. This is your reminder to be brave, be yourself, and know that you can make the world a better place just by what you decide today. Here, I'm going to share my weekly walnuttings with you on a Wednesday. Hello, Walnut. It is me, Laz, here for another episode of Walnut Wednesday, and this week is so delicious and special. I have one of my besties, Blisters, who lives over in Melbourne. Amberley, welcome to Walnut Wednesday.
Hello, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Thank you so much for visiting.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
we've been
having
friends.
me.
Oh, we've been friends for such a long time, and there's so much I've wanted to ask you while you've been on your journey over in Australia. So, Amberley, for the Walnuts who have never met you before, can I get you to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hello. My name's Amberley. Grew up in NZ with Laz. We went to high school together. So, how long have we known each other for? I reckon like 17 years, probably.
Yeah. A minimum 50. Yeah,
Minimum 15.
yeah.
I'm
Long time.
32. So, yeah, I reckon we would have met when we were 15.
Oh, maybe that's why I've got that number in my head because I can
Yeah.
work that math that quick.
Um, yeah, I'm a hairdresser and salon owner, which I'm sure we'll go into a little bit later over here in Melbourne. I've been here for 10 years. Um, I have the most gorgeous little dog to ever exist, obviously, and Kevin, he's gorgeous too. Her name's Doris, she's the love of my life. And yeah, just that's me.
I love that. Welcome, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. And I also think that if Doris and Kevin met in real life, they would probably want to get married.
I think they would.
Yeah,
Yeah. If Kevin doesn't mind being like put in his place because she's a bit of a sassy bitch.
I think he like thinks that he's like a super big dog, but then he realizes, oh, she can be the boss of me. That's what he'll be like, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think they'll be a perfect match.
I think that'd be a perfect match too. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I wanted to really ask you, Blister, about starting your business and things like that. But let's backtrack to sort of the beginning because like you're one of the only people in the world that I really like fully trust with my mop of hair on my head. So like hairdressing, how did you get
Yeah.
into it? What happened? Let's just sort of start there.
So I never really liked school that much. I was not the best student. Um, I always just wanted to be a hairdresser, which is so wild because now at my age, I realize how rare it is. Well, actually, a lot younger, but realize how rare it is to actually genuinely really know what you want to do from
Yeah,
such a young age.
yeah,
So, like, I feel really lucky that I knew that from such a young age.
yeah.
Um, I remember begging my mum to let me drop out of school to be a hairdresser, and she was like, "No, just do your like NCEA level one or whatever it was, that fifth form year." And I was like, okay, fine. So I did that. And then I think she was like, no, do the second year or something. And I pretty much wagged the whole year. Also met Jimmy that year. So we just like wagged together and hung out and used to kiss on the beach. Um,
Aw. Those were
and
the days, the
those
golden
were the
days, skipping
days.
school and kissing on the beach.
Literally, we'd get Subway and kiss on the beach. It was so cute. And then I got a part-time job at the hair salon in Pukeroa Bay at Reds. And yeah, I worked there like late nights and Saturdays and then just with the intention of doing an apprenticeship. So then next year, mum finally was like, okay, you can leave school, but you have to finish your apprenticeship. Like, I'm not having you drop out halfway. Like, she was good. She was held me accountable, which was good.
Yeah.
And a funny thing, shout out to my mum, she's the best. She
Right.
was like, as soon as you leave school as well, you're an adult. You're choosing to be an adult, so you can pay rent. Even though like I was on like apprentice wage, I was like 16. Bless her, she charged me like $30 or something. But it was like good, like that
Love
foundational
that.
thing of like, if you want to leave school and work full time, you can pay your way too. So it was like taught me from a young age how to like be good with money too. And yeah, then I did my apprenticeship. I think I finished when I was 20, which was pretty cool because it was like, I remember it being like tough. Like, obviously, everyone held school holidays and stuff like that. And I was like, fuck, like, I have a full-time job. Like, this is grim,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah.
Disney holidays and stuff. But like, I just loved it. and have, yeah, never wanted to change careers.
Aw, that's so nice. And I just going back to what you said, I have always really envied people, because I still don't know what I want to do, and I used to always get really, really jealous, especially through high school and a little bit in university as well, where I would have friends like you, and then other friends being like, I'm gonna be a hairdresser or I want to be a nurse, and they had very specific things of what they wanted, and I was like, fuck. I don't know. I like drama. I like photography. And I went off to study bloody theater and
That's
film
right.
and and like
Yeah.
and now I work in like government 9 to 5, and then do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't really found my thing, and I know it's not really that important, but I have always really envied when people felt from the bottom
Yeah.
of their butthole their calling, and they know that that's what it is. So that's really cool that you got that really, really early on.
Yeah. I think there's this one point where I remember it as well, is I remember mum saying to me with like family circumstances and stuff, she was like, you know what, I'll always find the money to get a good haircut because it makes me feel really good and it makes me feel like I can like not take on the world. That's not what she said, but it like gave her that confidence to like carry on. And
Yeah.
I reckon that really stuck with me, being like, fuck, you can really make someone feel so much better about themselves from one simple thing.
Yeah.
And I honestly reckon that's probably where it like kind of stemmed from too.
I love this because yes, even if you don't like get the full shebang and get like color and things, even a really delicious haircut can
Hmm.
change the whole way how you feel about your face. And I
Yep.
have a similar thing about having nails done as well. When
Yep.
I have like yucky bald nails and I stress pick my cuticles, nobody judge me. But like I look at my hand picking up a cup and I think bad thoughts about
Yep.
myself, like it's an
100%.
extension of like your self-talk. So when you're in the mirror and you like have nice hair, you're like, ah,
I'm unstoppable.
yeah. Yeah, it just gives you a little smack on the butt being like, ah,
100%.
I feel good about myself today, even if it's
Yep.
this tiny little
Yep.
piece of that. So yeah, your job really does affect people's like self-talk, self-love, self-care, all of that sort of
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, which is pretty cool, really.
It's nice. It must feel really nice when people like getting the reactions off of people like
Yeah, it's
you
pretty
look in the
cool.
mirror. You are so good at your job too, Bliss. So like, oh my gosh, I just miss you touching my head so much. Like
Oh,
this
you'll
big
have to
knot.
come over and come to the salon.
Yes. My
Yeah.
next trip over, I definitely will book everything in advance so that I can get into a seat. But let's talk about let's talk about the salon. So then then all the things happened. You realized you were a hairdresser, you did the apprenticing, you did the things, you worked full time, and then you hopped over to Melbourne.
Yep.
Let's go from there. So like what was it like? Were you working somewhere and then did you get a bubble up your butt like, oh screw this, I'm gonna do this myself? Or
Kind of. I worked at a really amazing salon in Melbourne for 7 years. So I've been here 10 years now, which is crazy.
I was thinking that
Um,
the other day, like, oh my gosh, it's actually so
a
long
very
that
long
you lived over
time.
there, like almost
Hmm.
not half and half, but like
Kind of like
quite a
adult
bit.
life anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I worked there for like 7 years and it was awesome. Like I met a lot of most of my best friends in Melbourne now. I met them there. So that was like the perfect thing. But I think I always just kind of I always, I actually never thought I wanted to own a salon. Even all through my career, I was always like, I don't want to own a salon. Like it doesn't kind of, I just didn't think it was for me. But then kind of always, I got to a point where, and I do think, and I'm sure talk more about the business model and things later, but I think in a lot of areas where it's like that owner operator kind of role, you can hit, as a staff member, you can hit a ceiling. And
Yeah.
I don't mean even financially, I just mean like growth wise and all of that. And so I think I'd been there for 7 years. I kind of had built up a really great clientele, but that was kind of it. That was like where you'd kind of cap, and even like your pay and all of that would go up, like $1 a year, like that kind of thing. And it was just like there's no real more growth that you can do. You've kind of, and I don't mean that in like a stuck up way. I just mean like that's just kind of where it was at, and that's totally cool. And a lot of people would have been like, I was so happy doing that, but then I was like, I feel like I need another challenge. Like I was still pretty young, like I was what, 28 at the time. So I was like, oh, I feel like I don't want to just do this forever. Like just work for someone else, go like, and then work the set hours that I had to do, which in hairdressing, as most people, if anyone's a hairdresser knows, like they're not very great hours. It's like you work late nights, you work weekends. It's not very social hours. And there was no flexibility within that. And then I was like, I want another challenge. So I decided to go out on my own and rent a chair at like the salon down in Paran, which is not far from where I live. So kind of took on the whole leaving the salon, which was really like bittersweet. A lot of my friends had started to move on and stuff like that from there. So it was kind of like a transitional thing. It was COVID times as well. So it was, I went out on my own in 2020, which was very interesting.
Oh,
So my first like 2 years of business were like in and out of lockdowns. And I don't know if anyone remembers, but Melbourne was like particularly bad for shutting down. So there was periods of like 3 months at a time where I didn't work and had no income whatsoever because I was working for myself.
oh my
So that was
gosh, talk about
really
thrown in the deep end. Like,
literally,
okay, what do
yeah.
I do?
And then it was like we'd open back up from a lockdown and I would literally work every single day
Yeah,
like till 8 p.m. and then close again. Anyway, so yeah, took like did that and it was really cool because it's obviously nerve-wracking. You're like, is anyone going like any of my clients going to follow me? I remember when the switch happened too. I remember it was the beginnings of COVID and clients started messaging me on Instagram being like, is there any ideas when we're coming back, when you're going to be back at work for a run? I was like, they're coming to see me. Like it was this kind of cool but weird feeling being like, oh, they're actually coming to see me. They're not actually coming to like the salon group, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Um, and so I remember kind of being like, I think I could make a go of this. Like, but it's terrifying. And I remember Jimmy being like, nah, let's just strap in. Like, let's just go give it a real good shot for like a year. If you don't make any money, it's all good. We'll reassess. Like, we can live off my wage. Like, like I'll back you in. Like, he was so good, bless him. Um, and so yeah, got this sort of spot down in Paran and it was just I'm like so grateful. Like it was amazing. I just as soon as I advertised, like as soon as I said I was leaving Ruby, because I couldn't advertise where I was going until
yeah.
I'd left, everyone was like, What? What do you mean? Like that people assumed I was moving back to New Zealand. And then when I put my advertising up that I was like starting my own business, like I was so lucky. I just was fully booked pretty much straight away. And I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be like, this could be really good. And so, yeah, I worked for myself down there for a year and a half. I was at that place with always with the intention of, like Jimmy and I kind of spoke about, we were like opening a salon where that was fully freelance as well. So it was like own the salon, but not have any staff. So like have all freelance. They're fully freelance, blah, 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 do that. Because Jimmy was always like to me, all I hear you hairdressers complain about is that you work too much and you don't get paid enough. Like, why is it not like tattoo studios and things where it's like there's a header of a studio, but every tattoo artist is a freelance tattoo? And I was like, yeah, I remember being like,
Smart
yeah.
man, Jim Tong.
Totally. And it's not a new concept, right? Like I'm not saying
Yeah,
I've made up this like thing that doesn't exist, but a lot of rent-a-chair things are still like it still goes through the company. You have to use their product.
yeah.
You get paid like a commission. It might be like a 50-50 split where it was like, why don't we do it where it's fully freelance? Like they
Just
do
rent
everything
the chair.
themselves.
Just
They
literally the
just
chair.
yeah, like a co-working space, like an
Yeah,
office, exactly the same as like co-working office spaces, except for
yeah,
hairdressers. So that was cool. So that was always kind of the plan. It was almost like I'll learn how to do my own thing, make the mistakes I need to kind of make without taking on too much of a risk, like don't have a lease on a business and things like that. I could end it if it wasn't working, I could
yeah,
call it and move on straight away. Didn't have to outlay, obviously, you outlay a bit of money getting stock and stuff, but the outlay wasn't huge.
yeah.
So it kind of felt like the safer option to do that and then learn all the things, make all the mistakes And then obviously, yeah, so that was in and out of COVID. And then so 2021 was a bit more of a stable year. It was like we kind of had the back end was like 6 months solidly of kind of working. And then, yeah, moving into I'll just drop the bomb now. Like,
Yeah.
moving into 2022, we were like about to open a salon. Jimmy and I looked at this space and we were like, that's perfect. That's going to be the space for the salon. He was just about to open his own. We always had this dream of having a bigger warehouse kind of space that had like you walked in and had like coffee down the side, like a coffee shop in the front, and
Yeah.
then like big bifolding doors out to like a co-working salon out the back, and we were going to call it Seats and Goods. Like Seats is the hair salon, and then Goods is like at the front where you get your coffee goods.
Yeah, all the goods.
Yeah, all the goods. So that was it was gonna yeah. So that was always the plan, and then we pretty quickly realized we couldn't afford to do that because it would have cost us probably like 250 grand to fit out the place. And we were like, why don't we start small? Look, we'll do a smaller salon, and he'll do a cafe, and then one day when we've got more money, we'll do the thing together. And then, so yeah, we went and looked at the salon space that I now have, and we were like, it's perfect. And then 2 days later, Jimmy passed away in an accident. So that's threw a real spanner in the works.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, I just pretty much was like, I'm done with everything in my life. I can't carry on. My friends were all like, what are you doing with the business? And I was like, I honestly don't care right now. Like, I
Like
don't care
last
about
thing on your
people's hair.
mind.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care about people's hair. Like, I'm
Yeah.
done. And then one of my good friends, bless her soul, her name's Crystal. I used to work with her here. She moved back to New Zealand and was living on Waiheke Island and had two kids. Oh, she had one little boy at the time. She was like, let me, like, give me your logins, let me take over things kind of thing. I'll contact all your clients and just say, right now, blah, blah, blah. And then if and when you want to return to work, I'll help you book them all in. I'll do all the contacting so you don't have to have those conversations over and over. Bless her, like she's the reason I still have a business today, like honestly.
Oh,
Um, and so yeah, then probably after 3 months, I think I was like, oh, I need to like, I'm not really one to just, don't get me wrong, I sat and I wallowed a lot. But
yeah.
like I think I was like, I can't just sit around. Like Jimmy's dead, and what the fuck does my life look now like now? Sorry if I'm not allowed to swear. Um, but then I was like, I just have to carry on with something, and that was like the last thing we were going to do together.
Yeah.
Was like, and he saw that space on Swan Street. Anyway, I just assumed that it would have been gone. I didn't really have any outside view of whatever. So I was like, oh, I just assumed that salon on Swan Street's gone. And then one day I was driving down the road and I was like having a moment. I always seem to have moments when I'm in my car. I don't know why. I think it's like one of the only times you're like actually sitting there and it's maybe like a bit meditative because you're focusing on one thing, like driving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You're
so
like
like
autopiloting. It's almost
kind of
like a conscious
autopiloting.
meditation
Yeah,
so
but you
that your
can't just pick
mind
up your
has free
phone.
time. Yeah.
Exactly. You can't like pick up your phone and scroll. And anyway, so I was like driving down the road and I was stopped like kind of in a bit of traffic. Like there's a set of lights up here, so in a bit of traffic right outside where the salon is. And I looked over because I was literally saying, I was like, what the hell am I meant to do now? Like, and I was kind of talking to Jimmy, like, you've just left me. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like I don't know what to do. And I looked over and there was just still this massive Felice sign in the front window of the salon and this rainbow. And like, I'm a bit woo-woo now. I'll lean into it. I'm a bit woo-woo now. But this massive rainbow was just like through the front window of the salon. And I was like, I don't know if that means anything, but I'm taking that as a big fat sign. And so I contacted the agent and I was like, hey, I met you around. Because I was actually, the day that Jimmy died, I was going home from work and I was meant to meet my brother and my friend James, who I now live with, at the salon. Jimmy had kind of organized for them to come with me because he'd gone to Tassie. So he was like, he was going away. He'd organised for us to go into the salon and like measure some things up and get James to check the electricals because he's an electrician and he's very handy. So get him to have a look at a few things. So he'd arranged with the agent to meet us there. And when I got home from work that day, I was rushing because I was like, gotta get home, gotta feed Doris, got to get to the salon, blah, blah, blah. Like I was all in like go, go, go mode, unbeknown to what had happened. My brother was at my front door. I was like, what are you doing here? And he was literally like grey. I've never seen
Oh,
anything like it. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I need to tell you something. And then he told me like he'd been told. So he's like, Jimmy's had an accident. And I was like, oh, I think I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
yeah, like he's
So
broken his arm.
inconvenient. Yeah, literally. And I was like, well, is he all right? And he was like, no.
Oh.
And I was like, what do you mean? And he just, yeah, he was like, he's passed away. But he like couldn't say the words.
Yeah,
And so, do you know what I did though? My first autopilot thing was like, you just you just go into like full body numb. What's right in front of me? And I was like, I said to my brother, poor bugger, you need to call the agent from Swan Street and tell him I'm not coming. And he was like, Ams, it doesn't. Did you hear what I said? And I said, you need to call the agent from Swan
yeah,
Street and tell him I'm not coming. I just went into shock, like
yeah.
a
It's
so
just
much shock.
shock
And I
and
was
it,
like full
yeah.
on shaking and everything. Leon's like, okay, poor bugger has to call the agent. Hi, we're not coming to view the
Oh,
cell.
bless you, Leon. Bless
I
you.
know. Anyway, so that agent like knew what had happened. So when I called back, he was like, yeah, let's get you back through, rah, rah, rah. And anyway, that's now, so we signed the lease and strapped in for like a 10-week reno, and it was literally the most stressful time of my life. Jimmy was like, had been dead for not even 6 months, and I was working and trying to renovate a salon, and it honestly nearly killed me. I'm not gonna lie, it nearly killed
Yeah,
me. But it was like the focus on the flip side of that and that like kept me going. Like
yeah.
yeah, I needed it. So yeah, we built this beautiful little space, and it's my happy place, and been open for nearly 3 years in November, which is
Oh
crazy.
my gosh, that is wild.
Oh, and I've got six, so me included, I'm one of six. Six amazing, all brilliant hairdressers that all now freelance out of the space. So, and it's called Seat Studio, and it's my little baby.
Aw, I'm
And I love it.
I'm so proud of you. Like it, it's one thing to just go out and decide to start a business.
Yeah.
It's another thing to like do that while going through what you obviously were going through. It's also another thing to like, one thing I don't think we'll have time to touch on, but like to decide to move to another country. Like I feel like that
Well, it
also is
was
a
a
big
really
thing.
spare of the moment. Do you know why it happened? Because you know how, remember how Jimmy and I went traveling? So we went
Yeah.
backpacking for like 8 months around Europe when we were 21. And we got back to Welly and like love it so much. Like it will always be like my home. But we both were kind of just like, we're not quite done yet. Like we had
Yeah.
that itch a little bit still. And Jimmy got in touch with a girl he used to work with at the front room in Waikanae,
Oh,
and they had a job going at the cafe that she worked at. She was leaving and she was like, we need someone full time. Would you be interested? And so he got a job and we were like, bugger it. Let's go to Melbourne for a year. And 10
10
years
years
later.
later.
Yeah.
Oh, Blister, I love this. I love this story. And like one thing that like I keep seeing like trickling in the points of like all the stories you've told us today is like just the amount of uh like support and backbone that you've had throughout all of these like challenges in your life, even going back to your mum deciding to let you drop out of school but charging you rent so you learn that lesson, Jimmy being like, bitch, I've got you. Like,
Yeah.
we'll live off my wage and you pursue your dream so that, you had Jimmy Tong doing that. And then your mate, like, helping you with the admin and stuff when you'd gone through losing Jimmy. Like, you've just had this golden ball of light surrounding you with all the people that you choose to, like, have collectively in your life. And I think even from knowing you from when we were younger, I used to always feel such, like, warm, delicious feelings around like your group of because Walnut, Amberley and I were like and had sort of different groups of friends, but some were the same and we kind of like merged in
Yeah.
some way. So like every time I come to hang out with you guys, I always just felt like really accepted and like
everyone just was on a vibe and it was like kindness. There wasn't really like, I mean, obviously you get it everywhere, bitchiness and blah, 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 but it was the foundation of all of those friendships that you have and that I have by default as well,
Yeah,
um, are like really solid. And I think
yeah.
that's such a beautiful thing that you don't really get that often.
No,
Um,
honestly, and like I credit to like everyone, like you included. Like I am so grateful for the people I've had in my life, like honestly. And it like makes you realize that that literally is the most important thing, is like the people you share your life with. And it's
yeah,
like quality over quantity. But like, yeah, I'm so grateful. And even this whole time through Jimmy, and even like, even just to bring it in as well, like, so 5 years before all of this happened, so 5 years ago, no, 6 years ago, I had like pretty major brain surgery and had to take time off work and like couldn't do a lot for a while. I even think that's probably what flipped me into like wanting a little bit more too, was I got this whole new lease on life after that because I was
yeah,
like so unwell and then was so well again, like luckily. Um, but even through that, like you just really, really realize like who your real friends are when really major things in life happen.
yeah,
And like it might, like even you and I, Laz, like we might not talk every day, but like I know and I hope you know that if you picked up the phone one day and needed a chat, like I would pick up,
yeah,
you know, and I know the same for you. And it's like, but that's like honestly the most important thing in
yeah.
life, I reckon, is the people you choose to surround yourself with.
Oh, I'm gonna start crying because I just think it's so, like people don't find that. People
I know.
people don't have that, and there are people our age now who have just completely different friends and stuff. And how lucky are we that we've got like people in our lives that we like you said with, um, oh, I don't think we were recording, but like someone that you walked hand in hand on the first day of primary
Oh
school
yeah.
with, that you're like chatting with now.
Yeah.
Like some people don't have that. They've just had to skip a whole like few decades of their life to find those kind of people now. And like
Yeah.
it's just a testament to like, who you are as well as a person. Like you're so awesome that you've like got this beautiful collection of people around,
Yeah.
and
I
I
feel
think that
so
that's so
lucky.
beautiful.
Like I really do. Even like aside from everything, like I'm so grateful for like everyone I have in my life.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, you
Oh
know.
my gosh, you've just like I feel like there's so many extra additional things that I like want to ask you now, and they've all fallen out of my butt because I just feel so inspired and like amazed. What when you say your sort of new lease on life and stuff. So say there's a walnut listening who just feels like stuck in a rut, in a little hole, like a little butthole. What's the what's the little advice to give them, a little nudge to say like, hey, you've got this. Like, have you got it from your tool belt of experience? What would you say to a
I
walnut?
think firstly, like surround yourself and people that make you surround yourself with people that make you feel good, for starters. If you're not feeling your best and you surround yourself by people that don't make you feel the best, it's not going to be a good cocktail.
Yeah.
And I know that's hard to do because not everyone, you know, has that readiness support right there and then, but like everyone knows those people that fill their cup, right? The people that make you feel good, like do more of that, spend time with them. But like honestly, it's like little simple things. I guess the one thing I'd say to anyone that's like, obviously my experience is grief, but I think grief can flow to different extents into every part, like a lot of part of life. Like people might be grieving a friendship that they thought was going to be a friendship forever, or a relationship that they thought was going to be a relationship forever. It's still, you're still grieving a person, a thing, or a life that you thought you'd have that you're no longer going to have, right? And all I'll say is that, like, it does get better. Like, when you're in the trenches, and trust me, I've fucking been in the trenches,
Yeah.
you don't think it's going to get better. You're like, this is never going to get better. It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
It does. And so, like, I guess, and I almost wish someone told me that when I was there.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because you do feel like it's never going to get better,
Yeah.
but it does, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so I almost wish someone said that to me, like, and obviously, like the fucking algorithm on Instagram, like what you start looking for, that's all that comes up at you. So, like, when I was like deep in like my grief, it was like grief quotes and it's okay to not be okay and all that stuff, which is really, it's also comforting at the time. But like, I read a lot of stuff that was like, this will never go away, like, grief will never go away. And it doesn't. But
Yeah.
I know now that you learn to live with it more.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I would read that and I'd be like, I can't do this forever. Like, I honestly can't do this forever. If this is how I'm going to feel for the rest of my life, like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I almost wish I read something that was like, and I did, you do start to, obviously, as your bloody algorithm changes,
Yeah. You
you do
start clicking
start
on
to
slightly less sad
slightly more
things.
positive things. Exactly. But it is like, yeah, so if anyone, I guess that's what one major thing I'd say is like, you might feel like it's never going to get better, but it will.
Yeah.
And like I think someone said to me at the beginning, as my therapist actually, who's like, and that's the other thing, go to therapy. Therapy's great. Honestly. Even
100
like
out of
if you
10
don't have
recommend.
like major things like this, like if you just everyone should speak to a therapist. I wish it was more accessible to people. I guess that's the other thing. I wish it was cheaper and more accessible for people so everyone could see one. But I remember, said to me, she was like, imagine walking into the gym for the first day ever. You've never been in a gym again, and you go to pick up a 30-kilo dumbbell. It's really heavy, and you can't hold it for very long. And I was like, no, I'd drop it straight away and be like, that's heavy and leave. And she
Yeah.
was like, but imagine you go in every single day and you pick up that same 30-kilo dumbbell every day. She was like, it's still 30 kilos, but you are way stronger at holding it and you get
Yeah.
stronger every single day and you can hold it for longer. That's how she kind of described, like, again, I'm using grief as an example, but in any scenario of like carrying something with you is like you get stronger and you can hold it way better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of like she obviously told me that early on, but I really wish like yeah, I wish there was more stuff around like and not feeling guilty for feeling better. Like when you do start to feel better because it's such a multifaceted thing like and the like dual two the other thing I've learned is that two feelings can exist at the same time.
Yeah.
You can feel really, really, really happy for someone and really sad for yourself, and that
Yeah.
doesn't make you a bad person.
Yeah.
And I feel that all the time still now. Like, obviously, we're at an age where most of my friends are having kids and things like that. And that's definitely where I thought I'd be now. Like, I'm
Yeah.
32. Jimmy and I had been together since I was 15. Like, of course, we were married. Like, of
Yeah.
course, I thought that. And that's not how life has gone for me, which is, it is what it is. But yeah, you can feel really, really, really happy for people and really sad for yourself, and that doesn't make you a bad person. So
Yeah.
that'd be my other thing, is like just feel the feelings and don't feel guilty for it, but don't be an asshole, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I really love that you touched on that, Bliss, because um yeah, we are all in integrity with ourselves, and we know that when we've done a low blow and when we're just being in it. And sometimes, look, sometimes you just need to spit a bit of venom and be a
Yeah,
little bit of a bitch and let it out. But like you know in yourself that like that wasn't probably the most aligned thing
yeah,
to be doing at that time. But yeah, and I love I always talk about two things can be true at once, and obviously from my own journey of like my initiation to like building a baby and making one. Um, that's had its own things, and similarly to you, like I remember in the actual what they call the newborn trenches as well.
mm,
It's like I remember like sitting there like just weeping tears atop my little tiny vampire's head, like just crying, being like, I don't know how I'm going to survive. Like,
yeah,
how am I going to get through this hour, let
yeah,
alone the day? Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And like everyone was like, oh, wait till 6 months, wait till it gets better after 8 weeks, it gets better after. And I was just like, I don't even know how I'm going to like do 5 minutes, let alone
yeah,
get to 8 weeks. But you just somehow just do. I
yeah,
remember someone, my friend told me, this is in context of having a baby, but I think it relates. The days are long, but the weeks are short.
yeah,
So like the days would feel like a slog, and I'd get like the sun would go down, I'd get that anxiety again about going to bed and things like that. And then all of a sudden it'd be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And then I got to the 8 weeks and I was like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
anyway, and then now I'm here and blah blah blah, and returning back to work has been my own little
Yeah. Journey. God.
whirlwind. And I had a colleague ask me like, because I would just cry when I went back to work. I'd just like start talking to someone and tears would come in my eyes, or I'd like forget something mid-sentence and then I'd get embarrassed and cry some more. But she was like, "How are you finding it now? You've been back for like a couple of weeks and stuff." I was like, "It's still hard and
Yeah.
it's still really shit and I still feel really guilty, all of the things that sort of come with it, but I'm used to the feeling of it being hard. Like going
Yeah.
back to the 30 kg thing, like I'm used to the fact that this is hard now. And so now when I'm talking to you and I stop talking mid-sentence because I can't remember what I was saying, I don't need to
Yeah.
cry about it anymore because that's just
Yeah.
what I do."
100%. That's just, it is what it is. And that happens to me all the time too. I just like start thinking, start talking about things, and then I'm like, wait, what was I talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe,
It's
yeah,
like
I think it might be like a little bit of like a almost a PTSD thing. I think when you go through something quite like
100%.
huge, you like your brain is like on like a little bit of fight or flight for quite some time, and then
Massively.
falling out of your butt stuff when you're talking, and you're like, huh? Where
100%.
did that
I'm
go?
literally on my like rebuild now. Like I honestly feel
Yeah.
like for 3 years I've been in fight or flight mode, and I've just been like, when I say I've just been surviving, I haven't, because like I have a good life. Like I
Yeah.
really enjoy my
Yeah.
life, all things considered. But like you do still feel like that, exactly what you said. Like the days are long, and especially in the early days, but even now sometimes,
Yeah.
like I had a day the other day where I just like everything made me sad and everything made me think about Jimmy. And I had a pretty big win at the salon this week. Like we got asked to be a like get this new product range in, which is like they don't give it to everyone. They only give it to like salons. And like the first person I wanted to call was Jimmy. And it's like that whole dual thing of like I'm so proud of like the salon and the people that work there and what I've created, which is crazy. And then but you're like, but I'm sad because the one person I want to share it with isn't here.
Yeah.
No, but it's like that whole thing of that dual feeling. But yeah, I think now you like have to try and rebuild from that fight or flight because your body's so wired to be like that. And I
Yeah.
imagine it's pretty similar after like having a baby because you've also got this thing to look after
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
which is like would be like a fierce thing that you just would, I don't know, I would like jump in front of a train for my dog. So I can't imagine what it would be like with a child.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, and similarly, like also with like your brain stuff too, it is just we have things that happen to us. It doesn't matter like what category it's under, that just give you like a little like 2 millimeter perspective shift, and you
Oh,
just kind of look
massively,
at stuff a little bit differently. And I think
hugely.
all part of everyone's individual thing, but it's also why we can all like relate to each other's stories so much and things
Yeah.
like that. So
Totally.
yeah. Oh, I've yeah, I've said it before. I just have so many other things like I want to ask. Thank you so much for visiting and sharing what you've shared with us, Bliss. But is there anything else on your heart that you feel like you wanted to raise or talk about before we kind of start wrapping up?
Nah, I think we've kind of, I knew we would dribble through it, really, haven't we? As we
We
do.
have. We've just like gone on a roller
We should
coaster.
have not been doing this at 7 a.m. and we should have been having a wine while we were recording this.
But we'll do a part two with a couple of
Part two.
beverages.
Yeah, we can. Perfect. Nah, I guess like, I mean, it sounds so corny, doesn't it? But like, and I'm by no means a motivational speaker, but I guess like one thing I remember reading about like this lady that I've followed a bit of stuff. I remember her saying like some of the most like important things in life you can't buy, and I was like, absolutely. And money, like, it doesn't matter like who you are or how much money you've got, and their kindness and courage. And I honestly, that has like stuck with me so much. It's like whatever you do in life, like if you have kindness and if you have courage, you can honestly do anything because like if you're kind to people, they'll be kind back to you, and like you have love and support. And if you have a little bit of courage, you can achieve so much more than you think you'll be capable of.
Yeah.
And like that's always stuck with me that I'm just like, and so now I try and think about that and like so many elements, like just have a bit of kindness and a bit of courage and you'll be sweet.
Oh my God, I'm gonna start crying. I feel like that's like the epitome of my like bottom line intent of Walnut Wednesdays. All you need is like a tiny little pinch on the butt of those
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
and you'll be right.
you'll
Oh,
be right.
I love that. I love that. On that, what does being a walnut mean to you?
I mean, like all of those things, I think it's like being brave and like even when things feel like impossible, like you can still do them. And like I guess everyone is like stronger than they think they are. So I think being a walnut to me is that like you can dig deep and you can do the hard things even when shit gets really hard. And that, you know, I guess being a walnut is just like being a kind, courageous person.
Mm,
Yeah. And treating other people the same way. Because that's like, as we talked about before, like the most incredible, important, valuable thing in life. And again, money can't buy friendship. And
yeah,
that's like, I would not have the life I have without the friends I have.
yeah.
So yeah, I guess that does that.
Yeah, sorry. I'm in my feels. I'm just like think letting that just like sink in. I've got like little goosebumps. I've got to like bubble up my butt. I'm gonna start probably crying. Like, yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Anne. Um, where can the Walnuts listening find you on the social medias? If they live in Melbourne, how do they book with you? All the
Um,
pluggy stuff.
all the pluggy stuff. So the salon is called Seat Studio. So you can find us on there. I have my own hair page, which is Amberley Rose Hair. And if you just like general dribble about life, then Amberley Rose on Instagram too. But yeah, all the cool hair stuff and all the cool business stuff um is on Seat Studio. So you can find us there.
Oh my God, so delicious. And walnut, I will put all that in the show notes if you need to like remember the things if you are driving or what, I'm waffling. I'm waffling because I'm like on one now. Um, Thank you so, so much, Ams, for
Thank
visiting
you.
Walnut Wednesday. It's been a long time coming. I've wanted to have you on here for so long, and then, like, life happens and I like
Yeah,
forget to ask. But I think it's all happened at the perfect time, and there's been such a wonderful, like, so many wonderful shares in this episode. I'm so excited to like play it back and everything.
same.
I love you so much.
I love you.
I think you're the most resilient, beautiful, wonderful, kind, and courageous woman who have ever existed on this planet, and you're so inspirational to every walnut listening, but especially to me. I'm so happy that we're friends.
Same.
Um, and thank you for all you do in the world and for
Thank
visiting us.
you. Thank you for having this podcast and giving us all us walnuts, inspiration all the time too.
Couple little nuttings
A
to
little
carry
nutting.
on with. So
No, thank
delish.
you for having me on. It's so cool. And I'm so proud of you and everything you do.
Oh, divine. All right. Well, Walnut, you have a happy Walnut Wednesday.
You
If you
too.
enjoyed this episode, yeah, flick us a little tag. Make sure you follow Ams on Instagram, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.